Okay, joined by Tommy Barrett. Tommy, 1-1 draw. It's probably 2 points dropped considering you were leading. Disappointed with the nature of the equalising goal?
Yeah, it was a poor goal, it was an OG. Disappointing, yeah. It didn't look like scoring really. No, saying that. We had a few chances in the first half, the first few minutes probably. But we didn't create that much either. The conditions weren't great. It was a poor enough game, I felt, Mike. But you got to see them out. You got to grind out ugly wins, and we didn't do that again.
You speak about the first half. You had those early chances with Mark and with Patrick. The ball over the top seemed to work, but you just didn't seem to do enough of it.
I absolutely agree, Mike. So I was saying to the lads early on, and I said to them at half time, I was telling them turn it, because every time we get forward, we look like scoring, but we were, we weren't doing it enough. I was trying to get that message on, and we gave that message at half time as well, even though the breeze was there, and it was holding up, and we should have done more of it, and unfortunately it didn't work out that way, but we still got to see out the game we go ahead.
In saying that, you got a great opening goal. It was a well-worked team move all the way out to the right-hand side. Evan O'Connor putting in a good cross, and Ferry's header, brilliant.
Yeah, great header, great delivery, great header. We know what Patrick can do, and he's signed to score goals. So he's got 2 and 3 now. So we're happy for him. Look, for a lad that hasn't played with Harp since May the 30th. He's still getting his sharpness back. He was struggling with a groin injury before the game, so that's why we took him off as well. And he was working his socks off, and he does that. And it was a real good finish, so we're happy for him.
You made a triple substitution 15 minutes from the end. Did that contribute to the little bit of mayhem at the back and not picking up from the set pieces? Because it wasn't the first time that there was a bit of panic at the back in the last 15 minutes from either a corner or a long throw, and eventually you succumbed to a nothing ball into the box.
I shouldn't do, the lads were all picked up, and it was, Joe, he leaves a bounce off him, and he kicks it into the nets, an unfortunate own goal. But the changes had to be made. Mark Byrne has been out injured a lot of the year as well. He was, and I know people are frustrated, but I don't make changes for the sake of it. Mark was tired, and he's been injured a good bit this year. He's come back up to fitness as well, and he can. The few injuries he's had in the past, he can be fragile, in certain places. So we have to match him. Mark Murphy has done well, but again, he's a lad that's building his engine in the pace of this game. And Patrick, you could see him coming off. He was wrecked, and we probably could have taken him earlier. If Patrick pulls his groin, I'm responsible for that. And it's that's 6 weeks out, and we don't want that this time of year. So and look what happened with EJ. EJ said it had a tight back, and he wanted to risk it at the start. And with his experience, we risked him, and we risked Patrick. We lost out with EJ, and it's sometimes these things happen, but you got to make the changes, and we got to look. We giving away silly throws and free kicks in the first place. Maybe we don't do that, but then a bit of panic. I think you're right. A bit of panic sets in. There's no need for it. But look, we just have to. It's silly. Look, I was more disappointed tonight than I was on Friday night, to be honest, and we drew tonight.
And people forget Friday, you played so much of the game with just 10 men, and that caught up with the team in the second half tonight. Kind of lacked that bit of tempo, but as well as that, playing on the Astro as well on Friday, it certainly doesn't help the cause with the games coming so thick and fast.
Yeah, look, we lacked a bit of energy tonight. So today, I think it was a poor game. The conditions didn't help. The grass was a bit hairy, and it was dry. When the pitch is dry, it's sticky, so it didn't, especially they weren't trying to really win the game in the first 70-80 minutes till they went down. They were looking to get a result, which fair play. We have to break it down, and it's difficult to break it down when the pitch is so dry and sticky. So it was difficult to break it down, and look, it's just disappointing we didn't see it out. Because sometimes, as I said to the lads, you have to win ugly, and that's something that we have to start doing.
And yet you come out of the weekend going into it 4 points clear of the playoff places, now 5 points clear. So as much as it's doom and gloom and you feel like you've dropped the points tonight, you've gone a point clear of Wexford, who were well beaten. Yeah,
look, and there's a long way to go. I say, probably disappointed UCD are gone 4 points ahead of us, but look, UCD are on a real good run, and they're doing really well. But Yeah, look, we'll be looking to reel back that 4 points. We have to look up. Look, Longford is a tough place to go. You know, they've really picked up at home, and we have to start getting back to keeping clean sheets and doing the basics right. And as I said, hopefully to get 3 points on the board.
And you speak of that Longford game because at the start of the season, in the first game up there, you really let slip a commanding position, and they got the breakaway goals late on. You feel like you owe them one, particularly up there on Saturday.
Yeah, look, we beat them comprehensively down here, but they're a good side. You know, they're a good side. Anyone can beat anyone in this division, and that's why you have to be well structured and well organised. And when you go away from home, we haven't been great away from home. We need to be better, and we need to get 3 points on the board next week. But look, if we don't, you certainly have to get something up there and keep that scoreboard ticking. But we'll be looking for 3 points.
And then after that you have a break for the Cup obviously, but then it's Dundalk, the first game of the last series of games. The season has gone by pretty quick, Tommy. Is there a points target for the last series of games just to make sure you're comfortable? Is it 3-4 wins? We'll probably see you through.
What are we on? 35, is it? 35 points. Look, to be safe, you want to be hitting around 15. Like, you know, you want to be on 50 points to be safe. 48 might do it, Mike. But no, you still want to be putting in good performances and good form. So it's important that I think, you know, if you got 5 wins, you'll be delighted. But that's more difficult, as you know, than most people think. So it's going to be difficult. But as you said, if you got 3 or 4 wins and 4 or 5 draws, you might be there.
And yet, Tommy, if you finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th or 5th, you're in the playoffs. You won't fear anybody that's in the 3 positions above you at the moment. You've been more than competitive against all of them. I know Bray got a late goal against Hearts to get a point this evening, but even the games against Bray have been tight. So as the playoff picture unravels, you won't fear anyone that's above you in the table at the moment.
No, it doesn't matter where you finish, Mike. You said it yourself there, like, 2nd or 5th, doesn't matter. We won't care as long as we get in there. But look, we've a lot to do to get in there. You know, as I said, 3 wins in a row from any of the teams below us, like, you know, and you don't win games, you know, you're in trouble. And so that's why it's so disappointing that we threw away 4 points. Well, we threw away 3 the other night and threw away 5 points in the last 3 days, so we can't keep doing that.
And very finally, while there might be a bit of doom and gloom, there's still 1,000 people in here tonight. The bar facility certainly added to the occasion. You'll need that support with the last 5 home games, whether players want it or not. You do need that support, don't you, to push you on and get the energy and get the momentum going into the playoff.
Yeah, look, in fairness, the crowd have been very good all year, like the fans, home and away, and we appreciate their support. I think, you know, they were a very good start to the game tonight. As the game went on, I think they lost a bit of interest, bar the goal, and I wouldn't blame them. It was a poor game. You know, there wasn't much to cheer for, and we gotta be better and give the crowd something to cheer for. And you know, as I said, look, no excuse, but the conditions didn't help. You know, with the breeze and the sticky pitch, but you know, we have to be better at home.
And very finally, because I want to actually get to the pitch, are you worried about the current condition of the pitch? It seems to be deteriorating in certain spots around the D, at the top end, down the sideline. It kind of stops your team because they're a free-flowing team that like to play in the counter as well.
Well, I think it was a bit hairy tonight. We didn't get it cut today. You know, it was cut Friday, and there's big bit of growth there, and it was dry. And when it's dry like that, it can be sticky. But if that's wet, it's a good pitch. Yeah, we don't know what that deterioration is, Mike. It's it looks like there was a bit of damage on it. It's not damage from football, so we're not sure. But it's coming. Look, the pitch isn't good. Nick has said it's just a bit sticky tonight.